everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Darian, aka LOL Not Darian, on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, comment down below how you like this video. Oh, my voice is shot. If you hear my cat screeching in the background, not screeching, but like kind of yelling, she's out there playing. It is 6:44. I am working from home today because we have a meeting from 8 a.m. until fucking noon. A travesty, I tell you, a travesty. And I'm not going to be able to make it to the office by 8 in the morning, so I'm going to work from home. But anyway, that is neither here nor there. Season finale of House of the Dragon. So season 2, episode 8 just dropped last night, and I don't know how I feel. I honestly don't know how I feel. I'm gonna say this. I feel like it was almost like it was buying time for the writers in a way, because I don't know, there was so much that could have happened that just didn't happen because it felt like they were just trying to swell up, and it was a lot of emotional things, and I get it. It's set up for you to be excited for season 3. However, just because it set a lot of things up, that doesn't mean that a lot of things happened in this episode. Let's just go ahead and get right into it. Also, before I start, I just want to say thank you guys so much for the support. I really appreciate it. I gained 15 subscribers in July alone, and that's ginormous. So thank you guys so very much. Please stay tuned. I have so much more coming. I have a travel vlog coming up for my birthday, which is in October. And I will also be doing a recap and review when Gen V premieres next year. So the first scene is Tywin Lannister basically trying to broker a deal with the city of Essos, or with the land of Essos, to get their help in the war with King's Landing. I heard that this is like the setup for some horrible shit. I've heard like from people that read the book, like, girl, we are in some deep shit. So I'm like, oh, fuck. All right. You see him brokering this deal with the people of Essos, or with the leaders of Essos. And they're basically like driving a hard bargain, because they're like, we gonna make money regardless. Like, we really don't care about whatever war you got going on. So if you want us to get involved in that war, you want to come up out the pockets. He basically agrees to their terms. And then they say that in order for him to basically get the approval of all of the other captains, he has to get the approval of like basically like the main captain, because, and they kept using he, which I think is like, I don't know if you guys watch on Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, when Captain Armstrong, people kept calling her sir and he and things like that, and then like you see this big brawly ass woman come out, you're like, oh. And like, honestly, the captain that they were talking about in House of the Dragon, she reminded me of Brienne of Tarth. That's what she reminded me of, which I love Brienne. She was so like, she was just queen. She was mother, okay? I loved her. And she basically challenges him to a fight, not even a duel, an actual brawl, which we'll get to that later. Lohar. Okay, Lohar. I need to remember. The next scene, we have yet again proof that Vhagar needs to die, and Aemon along with him, because you see this entire town just burnt to fucking ashes, like just on fire. And I remember watching it when I like watched it last night, and I was like what town is this? Like, did he get to like one of like Rhaenyra's allies or something? Like, I was so confused. Little did I know he was throwing a fucking temper tantrum and taking it out on the common folk. I've told y'all time and again, this man is a fucking psychopath. He's a psychopath. He just went and burnt an entire fucking city full of people because he's mad that he could possibly be bested now that Rhaenyra has 7 dragons and 7 riders to go along with them. He's such a bastard. Like, genuinely a fucking bastard. I've only felt bad for him once, and it was when Aegon was making fun of him for being with the first woman he ever had sex with. I no longer feel bad. He deserved to get bullied. Sometimes people deserve to get bullied. I never thought I would see the day where somebody would make me wish that Aegon was still king. The next scene after that, we see Aegon. in bed, and he's basically just asking the Grand Maester for some rum, like just a sip of rum. Like he's in so much pain. He's like, the least I could do is be a little tipsy while I'm dealing with this shit. After that, like after he like starts drinking his drink, you see the foot freak come in, and he's basically talking to Aegon and telling him like, we need to go. Your brother just burnt an entire fucking city because he is intimidated and humiliated, and he doesn't know how to respond to that, little dick syndrome times a million. And he's going to come back and he's going to kill you. And I'm like happy that I wasn't the only one that had that thought. Like, he's going to finish you off. He didn't expect you to survive through that. He sat there and watched you burn. First of all, he burned you. And then second of all, he saw that you stayed alive. He's going to come back and he's going to kill you, especially because he feels so inadequate right now. The last thing he needs is somebody who is there to remind him that his seat is only temporary. And so the best option you have is to go and disappear for a little bit. Let him and Rhaenyra duke it out when everybody's hopes is low and everything, because they done fought and everything. You return as the true prince, and as the true king and the heir of Viserys. I'm happy that he got Aegon out. Honestly and truly, when we got to the end of the episode and you see Aegon leaving with the foot freak hidden in like a stable cart or whatever, I honestly had forgotten that he was supposed to be leaving King's Landing. I forgot that he was supposed to be leaving King's Landing. So like when I saw that, I was like, fuck. Like, fuck. Aegon needed to get the fuck out of King's Landing, because it was only a matter of time before Aemon came to try and finish him off. Aegon was basically in bed having a pity party for himself, and the foot freak is basically like, we don't have time for that. By the time you finally start feeling better or coming to terms with your condition, you're going to be dead. Aemon is going to come and take you out. Like, we have to go. So I'm happy that he got him out, because I definitely... Y'all remember run back when, like, when we found out Aegon survived in that episode and I did the recap, I was straight up saying like, Aemon is going to finish that boy off. So the next scene, we basically see Rhaena doing her 40 days and 40 nights in the desert trek. Basically trying to find the wild dragon. This girl is like, she's on the edge of death. She's thirsty as shit. She's sleeping in the cold. And like, my thing that I'm confused about is how the fuck did her party not realize she's separated from them, or do they just not care? Like, I'm confused as to why they didn't go searching for her, why they just kept going without her. Like, and I'm glad I wasn't the only one, because I saw on Twitter, this is the only episode that I actually like went on Twitter after the episode. All the other ones, I literally would just watch it and then go straight to sleep. I'm glad somebody else was like, didn't nobody notice that this girl was just like separate, like immediately as soon as the doors closed, she was gone. Like, I'm confused as to why nobody kept up with her or was like paying attention to her or anything. But regardless, she's basically going through it, trying to find this dragon, trying to see if this is going to be like her last chance. And someone in my comments has said that they wonder and hope if Rhaena is going to be fireproof like Daenerys was. And I would absolutely love that. However, fast forward, we'll see that Daenerys was like part of a prophecy. Not only that, but Daenerys was also, she was the mother of dragons. So, those were her actual children. She hatched those eggs and everything. Whereas like Rhaena can't even mount a dragon, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know if that's going to happen. If it is, that'll be badass, but at the same time, I feel like that was a case specific to Daenerys because of the prophecy that was foretold for her story. Fast forward, you see Jace coming into the council headquarters, and we see Ulf and Hugh in the council headquarters, basically just like, Hugh is always on his best behavior. We stand Hugh, okay? He be minding his business. But then we got Ulf dicking around at the at the council table. And Jace comes in. He's basically, you know, just being dick. He's being a less insecure version of Amond. I'm not gonna lie. He's being a little bit of a brat because he's so concerned with his status, and he feels like, and it has to do with the fact that he isn't Laener's son. So he only has one half of Targaryen blood, which is like, that's how it should be. Hello, incest. He's very concerned about it, and so he feels like the only true way that he can prove that he's a Targaryen because of everybody always. He feels like the one true way he can prove that he's a Targaryen because of everybody always like making fun of him for being a strong man is by having a claim to a dragon. And so I saw someone in my comments saying as well that it's not just Targaryens that can mount dragons, it's Valyrians in general. And so I think that's where Jace might have it a little mixed up in his history, is that he thinks that only his bloodline can mount dragons, and that's not true. So because he's dealing with the superiority complex that he has, he's taking it out on the new writers. I did not realize until I was in the shower thinking about the episode that I missed the theme of the episode, and the theme of the finale was self-worth and identity. You see it in all of the characters that are present. You see it in Jace. He is fighting, trying to decide if his self-worth and his identity regarding being a Targaryen is not based in his ability to be able to ride a dragon, then what does it really mean to be a Targaryen? What does make him one? Then you see Rhaena. She's fighting tooth and fucking nail to try and find that wild dragon, to ride the wild dragon. And it is because she, all like the entire season, has been fighting her self-worth and her identity, and what does she, not only what she means to herself, but what she means to her family in relation to how they are able to utilize her and her abilities. And if she is not able to ride a dragon, what use and what worth is she really to her family? And so that's why you see her fighting so hard to be able to get to that dragon, and just for the chance and the opportunity to ride it, not even knowing if she'll be able to do it, not even knowing if she'll be losing her life in the process, or losing her life when she finally meets the dragon, just because of the slight off chance that she will finally be able to be of use and of worth to her family. And then you see Aemon, we can go to him. You see him getting upset and throwing a temper tantrum because he realizes that if Vhagar isn't what makes him the strongest warrior, if he doesn't have Vhagar, because Vhagar can essentially be beaten at this point because Rhaenyra has so many dragons, then what fucking use is he? What does that make him? If Vhagar can be beat, then Aemon is no longer unbeatable. He's no longer invincible. So what is he at that point? Who is he at that point? Then you have Daemon. Finally, he sees the prophecy and he realizes that he is just a small, minute piece of the puzzle. It is bigger than him. Everything is bigger than him. He has been going through life, his entire life, thinking that everything is about him and everything owes him something. And he finally realized in this episode that none of that shit matters. He doesn't even matter in the grand scheme of things. He just needs to go along with what is destined to be for the greater good. And then you see Alicent and her battle within herself of realizing and coming to terms with the fact of, like, basically her identity has always laid within the fact that she has been useful to a man in her life. So now that she is no longer useful to any of the men in her life, where does that leave her? What does that make her? If she is not useful as a queen, a mother, a daughter, then what is she useful for? Why is she even here? And what does it mean to finally start living life for yourself? So yeah, the theme of this week's episode and the finale is self-identity and self-worth. But yeah, peace. And It's just something that he needs to get over for himself, and he needs to be able to learn how to hold his head high and say like, okay, so the fuck what? My dad isn't a Targaryen. I'm still the prince. That's not gonna change. That will never change. It hasn't changed. This is what I am. This is who I am. I'm not gonna lie. I was gagged whenever Ulf was like, you know, basically, who are you? Like, whenever Jace came in and was like, get your feet off the fucking table, you fucking animal. get your feet off the table, you animal. And Ulf was like, and what are you going to do about it, you little child? And Hugh had to tell him, like, bro, that's the prince. And Ulf straightened up immediately, like, oh, yes, sir, no, sir, sorry, sir. Like, he really needs to mind his manners. Like, he really, really, really needs to mind his manners. And it's not even about, like, you're in front of royalty. It's just, like, you need to carry yourself with a different air of importance now. And not even just, because he's carrying himself with an air of arrogance. And there's a difference between being arrogant and understanding you're important. And I don't think he has quite figured out the middle point between the two, because I mean, look at the way he's fucking acting, you know what I mean? And you could say that's with a lot of people in this show. Most of the men in this show, that's usually how they act. They don't understand the difference between arrogance and understanding that they just have an important role. So the next scene we have is Rhaenyra and Corlys having a discussion by the dock. Corlys basically congratulating her for getting the dragons, you know, telling her like, you did take a risk, but it worked out in the end. You now have 2 new riders, so now you have, is it 6 or 7? Oh, she does have 7 dragons because Daemon. Congratulations, but you do also want to stay on your toes, and you need to go get Daemon back, because sure, they only have 1 dragon as of now, but you're forgetting about the son in Old Town that's been, you know, just sitting around, who does have a dragon, aka Daeron, the son we've never seen before, but is there apparently. And then I wonder why he was sent away. I really want to know that. Why was he the only one that was sent away? That, and then also Helena's dragon. And Rhaenyra's like, you know, her dragon is formidable, but at the same time, she has no interest in riding. She never goes and sees her dragon. Like, and basically you see Rhaenyra thanking Corlys for becoming her hand, and him just saying like, I'm doing this for Rhaenys. And he says that he named his ship the Queen Who Never Was. And I thought that was so beautiful. That was so beautiful. He also said that Daeron's dragon is younger than Vermat. But him just saying like, he's humiliated, aka he is, you know, Aemon. He's humiliated because he realizes that he's not invincible, and that you do have a chance now. And that's why he went and burned up Sharp Point. I almost said Sharpstown, girl. This is not the ghetto. That's why he went and burnt up Sharp Point, and he's not going to stop there. He is going to continue his little reign of terror and his little tantrum until he feels satiated. Next scene, we see Daemon, and he finally comes into contact with, Broom, Alfred Broom. Basically, Broom got there and literally just threw all of his fucking values out the window, all of his loyalty out the window. He was supposed to be a messenger for Rhaenyra, and somehow it ended up being, I pledge my allegiance to you as the king, because we need a king, we need a man in place, like, she's not listening to us because she's a woman, and yada, 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 yada. And it's like, you fucking bitch, that's not what you were sent here to do, you bastard. And I don't know, I feel like he should be knocked off the council for that, because, like, that's not what you were sent here for. And so I love the fact that Daddy Strong was sitting around and he heard it, and he was like, oh no, this sounds like treason. This sounds like treason, baby. I am not here to serve Daemon. I'm here to serve Rhaenyra. What the fuck is he talking about? We need a king. We need a king. No, we don't. We got our queen. She's supposed to be handling shit. Why the fuck are you talking about you need to come and step in and I'm gonna back you in? No. And so I love that he was like, you know, listening in and everything. Like, just a man, okay? A man of honor, a man of loyalty, a man of his word. We love that. Look at his face. He's like, oh no, that's not happening. We not having that. Next scene, Helena and Allison. Allison is finally back from the woods. She's basically just having a conversation with Helena. What if we left? Like, how would you feel about that? How would you feel if we like just got away from King's Landing? And you see Helena kind of get a little excited because she would want nothing more. She wants nothing more than to leave King's Landing and get away from this environment and just finally be able to be the person that she always wanted to be. She never asked to be queen. She never wanted to be queen. That was never something that like was on her mind. And so she hates that this is the role that was destined upon her. What I was going to say is like, people always talk about like, which I completely understand. People always talk about like all the things that were taken from Rhaenyra, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be a lot more that's going to be taken from her. But nobody really talks about how much is also taken from Alicent. Like, you know, she had to give her freedom and free will away. She never wanted to be queen, but her dad wanted that for her. So what did she have to be? She had to be queen. Then she had to be the leader of the country because her husband fell ill. Then she had her kids. Her grandson was beheaded in the middle of the night, and her son was burnt by her other son, horribly burnt to the point like he's literally disabled now. If they would have just named Aegon something else, like at the very basis of it, if Aegon the Conqueror could have been just the one and only of his name, none of this shit would have happened. So after Alicent was asking Helena, like, you know, what if we left? And she's getting Helena's hopes up. Like, Helena got a little smile on her face. She's like, where would I go? Like, I don't know. I would love to leave. Like, girl, you don't tell me what a good time. Let's go to Vegas. So after that, fucking Aemon comes in just raging because he's still going on his fucking temper tantrum, and he is telling Helena, like, you know, you got to get up. Like, it's time for us to start. It's time for you to start fighting alongside us. In this episode, he keeps talking about how sacrifices have to be made. Oh, Helena, you don't want to ride. Sacrifices have to be made. Oh, we need to close down the ports. We need to close the ships down. Sacrifices have to be made. And it's like, he keeps talking about sacrifices, but it's like, what have you sacrificed? He hasn't sacrificed shit. He's still been riding around killing people. Those were sacrifices. Starving his own people, that was a sacrifice. Picking his mom off the council, that was a sacrifice. Burning his brother, almost fucking killing him, because that was a sacrifice. Like, when is enough? When are you going to give up something? You know what I mean? Once again, everybody, let's say it. Aemon is a goddamn psychopath. But yeah, and so you see Helena, like, you know, I'm not trying to burn anybody. Like, you know, you may be eager to burn people because you're a goddamn psychopath. You're crazy. You like killing people, you know, but that's not me. That's not who I will ever be. Alicent literally has to fight Aemon to get him to let go of Helena because he's just trying to force his hand in everything. He's trying to just be, like I said, a tyrant. He's angry. He's pissed off. He has little man syndrome because he feels inadequate now that Rhaenyra actually has a chance against him, and so he's taking it out on absolutely fucking everybody else. So then the next scene, you see Alicent go and talk to the Grand Maester and basically tell him, I need a ship and I need your discretion. And so I thought, imagine my surprise when I see Alicent go to Driftmark and she's by herself. I thought she was about to take Helena and the baby girl and like just go off into the sunset, and like I did not expect her to show up at Rhaenyra's doorstep basically like brokering a deal, honestly and truly, because she was talking to Helena about leaving. I thought that's what was about to happen. I thought she was about to be like, bro, I really need to get her out of here before Aemon just like gets even worse. What do y'all think I'm about to talk about? The next scene, we have fucking Mead Poppy. He's back on the goddamn screen. I'm so tired of him. But like right now, he's basically just coming to terms with like his own humanity and just like, and his own fate of dying. How they're just marching to their death by going to Driftmark to come face to face with Rhaenyra, who now has 6 dragons, about to be 7. Does anybody else think Alicent is pregnant? Because why does she keep touching her stomach? I think she's pregnant. Anyway, so you see Allison's brother like getting pissed off or whatever because he found out that that Meat Poppy was blowing Allison's back out, and he's like, you know, just really upset. And Meat Poppy is basically just like, none of this shit even matters, dude. He's like, you know, on his like sad boy shit, like, fuck, like, we're about to die, bro. Like, does any of that shit really fucking matter? We're all marching to our deaths. And wouldn't it be so fucking great to die? Like, that shit was depressing. And it was so depressing that, like, Allison's brother couldn't even do anything but just, like, sit down next to him and just, like, ponder on the meaning of life next to him on that little log. So then the next scene, you see Tywin Lannister getting into the fight with, but he basically gets into, like, a mud fight with her, punches the absolute shit out of her, and she's like, you know what, I like you. I like you. You just whooped my ass. I like you. I'll think about it over dinner. So that whole scene happened. The next scene is such a cute scene. It's with Bela and Jace. And Jace just basically saying, like, these commoners are riding the fucking dragons. What does that make me as a Targaryen? And what does that make you? And she's basically like, I'm still a Targaryen. Like, I'm still a Targaryen. You're still the prince, the heir to Rhaenyra's throne. Your mom is still the true queen. Like, them being able to ride dragons has nothing to do with who we are, what we are, our titles, what our name is, like. And on top of that, you wouldn't be the first person, you know, whose dad isn't, like, you wouldn't be the first person who was basically like a bastard child, you know what I mean? That is an heir to a throne. Like, get over yourself. You are still Jacaerys Targaryen, first of his name. Like, he basically just gave him that reality check. And I love all of their scenes together. I feel like she grounds him, and she's so much more wise in that way. She's wise in that way with everybody. And I love, like, just how, I love the way she carries herself. I love the way that she's always kind of like guidance for everybody, because not only did she guide Jace out of his little funk that he was in, but she also guided Corlys out of his funk whenever Rhaenys died, you know what I mean? Or not his funk, but his, like, you know, just not really wanting to do anything for Rhaenyra and saying, like, you know, she's got some fucking nerve to ask me to be her hand and everything, and her just saying, like, you know, I'm doing this for Rhaenys because Rhaenys believed in Rhaenyra's claim to the throne. What are you going to do? So then the next scene is Tywin and the commander. I really don't know her name, so I'm just going to say that. Tywin and the commander, she agrees to sail out with him, and she stands up and says, to the gullet on the morrow. And apparently that is like the kiss of death from people that read the book, so I'm kind of scared. But she agrees to sail out with him, or they agree to sail out with him, and they say, you know, I like you, Tywin. I want you to have my kids. And at first, I thought, like, they were about to say, like, you know, we about to be hitting the sack. Me and you about to be hitting the sheets. No. What'd she say instead? I want you to fuck all my wives. I was like, what? What the fuck? And I wish they did not cut it off at the part where he asked, how many wives you got? Like, how many times I'm gonna have to do this? So the next scene is Rhaenyra, Bela, Jace, Hugh, Adam, and Ulf at the dining table. And I think it's like just a feast for Rhaenyra to basically like welcome Ulf, Adam, and Hugh to like Dragon Militia or whatever the fuck, or the fleet, I don't know. And also somebody said that Adam is Corlys' son, so we got that answered. But anyway, and you just see once again Ulf having the manners of a fucking pig. More wine! Give me some more than little chickens! Yeah! And it's like, bro, mind your fucking manners. Mind your manners. You're having dinner with the queen, screaming out to her fucking waitresses, what are you doing? And I love how she was like, you're gonna have to mind your manners. But he did clock her. When she said, A knight will mind his manners in the presence of a queen. He said, maybe you should make me a knight. He did kind of clock her on that one, but still, like, come on now. Next scene, I am wondering if Alice and Damon were hunching or if she just went into his bedroom and sat at the edge of the bed until he woke up. Because I'm confused as to why she was, like, in his room to begin with. But regardless, I think she might have just, like, went in there. Because if they were hunching, why would they both be fully clothed in the bed, you know? So I think she just walked up in there and it woke him up. And she told him, you're ready. It's time. Let's go. I'm going to go to the Godswood. So they went back to that tree that I talked about earlier whenever Alfred came to talk to Damon. And Damon put his hand on the tree and he saw the prophecy of the Song of Ice and Fire. I mean, Fire and Ice. And basically realized that he was just a part of the entire story and that he's gotten beside himself trying to go and claim the throne for himself because that's not how things are supposed to be. The prince who was promised, aka Daenerys, which is like, I remember somebody, like people on Twitter were like talking about how if she was the prince who was promised, then that shows that HBO royally fucked up her story in season 8 because that wasn't supposed to happen if she was supposed to be the prince that was promised. And like y'all, as I told y'all before, and like I think the very first video that I did of this, I didn't watch all the way to the end of Game of Thrones. I watched until Joffrey died because that's all I really cared about. He finally comes to the realization like, okay, I need to like put all of my petty shit to the side. And I love that that was the thing. Like he just kind of got worn down over and over, like after all of his like regrets and things coming back to haunt him in Harrenhal. He finally realized like, okay, this is bigger than me. I need to do what is meant of me to be able to make this prophecy come to fruition. And the very first way, or the very first thing of this prophecy coming to fruition is Rhaenyra taking the throne. And so I need to do everything in my power to make sure that she's able to take the throne. The next scene is Helena. For some reason, Helena was in the prophecy that Damon was looking at, and I'm wondering what that means. But anyway, so the next scene that we have is Helena and Aemon having a conversation, and her basically saying like, I wonder if she can see the future, if she knows the prophecy. Basically like, you know, telling him like, I know you tried to kill Aegon. You're not going to win. You're actually going to fucking die. Him like, you know, being pissed off and being like, okay, well, what if I kill you? And her just straight up saying that's not going to make a difference. You're still going to fucking die. And then also when she said that she saw Aemon try to kill Aegon, I'm wondering how. And I feel like it's because she is able to like see the prophecy. I don't know. I wonder how she saw it, honestly, because she wasn't there. She was at home, obviously, you know? Yeah, so then the next thing you see is Rhaenyra go to Harrenhal. Caraxes sees Rhaenyra and Syrinx, and Caraxes is like, thank God, I've been in this rainy ass place for years. Can we go home? You could just tell, like, oh my God, finally you came. Finally, this man lost his damn mind, girl. You see her meet Daddy Strong at the gates, and he tells her, like, you know, come on in. Like, it felt like there was going to be some treason happening, but you got to see for yourself. So she comes in, like you see all of like the knights that Aemon brought together, and he's walking through the crowd slowly, and he's like, you know, you see the men that I conjured up, it's like they're all pledged to me. And so she asks him, well, who was your loyalty pledged to? And he basically starts talking to her in High Valyrian about how he saw the prophecy, he saw the Song of Fire and Ice, and how the only way for that prophecy, how he saw the prophecy of the Song of Fire and Ice, and he saw the prince that was promised. And the only way for that to come to fruition is for her to take her throne as the rightful heir. And he kneels down to her. And I love how she, you know, said at the end, she was like, you better not leave me again. And he was basically like, I couldn't even if I tried, because I already tried once. And so I loved that scene. I loved like them coming back together. It was a great moment, especially because there was no push and pull. He was just immediately like, I know what needs to be done, and I know that you and I are only a small part of it. And so I'm going to do whatever I need to do to make sure that this prophecy comes into fruition. And you see Rhaenyra get the of literally Daemon's entire army, and it's invigorating, basically, to say the least, to see her get all of this support and know that things are finally starting to look up for her. She has 7 dragons now with 7 riders, and she has a full army backing her up, as well as the blockade at the river. So then the next scene, you see Alan having a conversation with Corlys, and it reminded me of that scene in The Fresh Prince where like Will Smith is like, how come my dad don't want me, man? And like, it's not funny, but it's just like, it's so fucking sad. Like him talking about like, seeing my father, who has like fur wrapped around his shoulders and everything, walking down the street with his son that he actually claims, while I'm on the street starving, having to work from sun up to sundown to make sure that me and my little brother can eat every day. Like, because Corlys was like, the least you could do is be grateful. I'm trying to help you. And Alan was basically like, I don't need your fucking help. I don't need your help. I didn't need your help back, or when I did need your help back then, you didn't extend it. So guess what? I had to make my own fucking way. I made sure my family ate. I made sure we had a roof over our heads, not you. So respectfully, I will do what the fuck I need to do because you're, my boss, and you told me to get to work, and you told me, I had to take on this title and everything else. But that's as far as this goes. Now that both of your kids that you like to claim are dead, you want to come and start being a father to me and Adam? Dead it. I'm not doing that shit. Like, I'll continue doing whatever job you gave me. But respectfully, fuck your help. I don't need it. It's too little too late. And I completely understand his like point of view. Like, Corlys, you can't just ignore somebody for, fucking years and years. And like, the man is like, what, 27 or something? He looks old as shit. You ignored him for all of that time just for you to finally like come back because Rhaenys told you like, well, why don't you speak to them? Like, it's just, that was that. And Corlys looked so just like jaded, but it's like, this is like, you created this problem. It didn't have to be this way. So then the next scene, we have Rhaenyra and Mysaria having a conversation about the war, and basically just Rhaenyra battling with the fact that in order for her to even win this war before it started, she still has to sacrifice thousands of people. And she's just like, I don't want to do that. Like, she's still trying to grapple with her morality of like, I don't want to be the reason that so many people die because of my seat to the throne, because of something that is going on between me and Aemon. It's just not fair to all of them. And, Mysaria is trying to like talk her down, but she's just like, bro, like, respectfully, you're not the one who is going to have thousands of lives on the back of your throne. You know what I mean? Like, is it really worth it? Like, I have all of the army, I have everything that I need now, but at the same time, I don't know if I'm ready to take so many lives just to claim the throne. Especially like, it's like a thing of like, she can't even just, in order to nip it in the bud per se, she still has to kill so many people to show Aemon like, I have a stronger army than yours. You need to back down, basically. And it's just, yeah, I understand like why she's struggling with it, So then the last scene we have is Alicent and Rhaenyra having a conversation at Driftmark. And basically Alicent saying like, I have sacrificed my life, my liberty, my happiness, my freedom, my free will and everything for the men of my life. And I've never been able to have time to think what I want for myself. And what I want for myself is to just be free. I just want to be able to do whatever I want to do and not have to worry about things anymore. And also, I love the part where she had said like my lover, and Rhaenyra was like, lover? You made virtue your banner, and now all of a sudden you're, you over here, getting frisky, being promiscuous. And I think it's funny that like Alicent didn't even tell her who her lover is, because it's like, oh, you got my sloppy seconds, bitch. Okay. Yeah, no. And so like Alicent is basically trying to broker a deal with Rhaenyra to just be done with all of this. And Rhaenyra saying like, I can't, that I can't just walk up in there and claim my throne. You know what I mean? I have to take the head of the king that is supposed to be on that throne. You know this. Like, it's not just a done deal with me walking in and sitting on the throne. And that it has to be a public execution. I think like the thing is also just like Alicent is so tired of like trying to sacrifice herself for everybody else that she finally just like is like, okay, this will be my last sacrifice. Aegon will be my last sacrifice. Like, go ahead, take him, a son for a son. I'm so tired. I need time. I need my freedom. I want to ensure Helena's freedom. She doesn't deserve any of this. My grandchildren don't deserve any of this. Like, if this is what it takes, then this is what it takes. So when Aemon leaves, you come. Like, when Aemon leaves to come over here and start the war or whatever, you come to King's Landing and take Aegon's head. And honestly, like I said, I had forgotten that Aegon was supposed to leave. And so because like I already know like it can't just be that easy, I was thinking that Alicent would leave and then be like, I can't sacrifice my son, and then just end up like backing out. But no, when we start seeing like everybody's like future is coming to fruition, because not future is coming to fruition, but like, we see Rhaena finally seeing the dragon face to face. Fucking Aegon in the herding truck with whatchamacallit, with the foot freak, going off to a different land. I'm like, fuck! I forgot about that. And then what else do we see? We see Daemon just overlooking Harrenhal. We see Lannister setting sail. We see Corlys and Alan setting sail. And it's just a bunch of like setup for the next season. And like I said, that's why I felt like it was a bunch of like filler a little bit. Like, it set up the scene, but I feel like with the end of this season, they could have had just a little bit more. They could have given us just a little bit more. And I feel like this scene, and I guess it's supposed to just like feel like the beginning of something, because I was about to say this whole episode and the last scene, it felt like, in a way, it felt like the season is taking a break rather than this is set up for a new season that's coming in 2 years. You know what I mean? Like, it's like how in anime, whenever like it gets to the 12th episode mark, it kind of takes a break, but it sets everything up for when the season starts back up in like a few months. That's what it felt like, more than a season finale in a way to me. Yeah, I just wish there was just a little bit more, but hopefully that means that when season 3 comes, it's like all bets are off, like shit's going off left and right. That is the end. Season 2, episode 8 of House of the Dragons, and that's the end of season 2 of House of the Dragon. Number 1, hope that Rhaena is actually able to mount the wild dragon. I think she will be able to. I hope that somebody gets Aemon and Vhagar the fuck up out of here. I hope Helena is able to escape King's Landing and just go and live her life somewhere else, away from all of the bullshit that's going on. I hope Alicent gets her freedom, finally. I hope Rhaenyra gets the throne, which I know she probably will at the very end. I know it's not going to happen in season 3, but y'all, it's a lot. It's a lot that's going on. It's a lot to be set up. I'm excited to see the rest. I have to go because it is 8:05. The meeting has just started. Thank you guys so much for watching once again. Like I said, stay tuned. I have a travel vlog coming up. I'm going to a different country by myself. It's a solo trip. It's going to be so fucking cool. It's going to be so cool. You guys are going to love it. And then also stay tuned for when Gen V comes out, because I'm going to be back here doing a recap and review of each episode. Thank you guys once again for watching. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace. Also obligatory cat cam. She was asleep, so.